is on the muscular system. And I guess I've already shared with you some of the basic topics when we had our zoology naman, no? And partly the lecture is a review, and of course, no, partly there are new things that I'll be sharing with you, especially on the physiology side. Okay, so any idea what these cells are in the micrograph?
Skeletal muscles po
Okay,
na.
so these are very, very amazing skeletal muscles, no? It's a very, very good micrograph. You can actually see here, okay, the nuclei of the different cells, and then you have very, very distinct striations, no? And as you can see, the striations are actually an alternation of the light and the dark bands, no, which you all know, okay? And the science, no, that studies muscles, no, including the description, the types, the structure, the functions, no, and the diseases is called myology, okay? And we have here the expected learning outcome. So at the end of the module or the lesson, the student will be able to, number one, review the different muscle types and their structure. So you're familiar with this already, the three types of muscle tissues. You have the skeletal, you have the cardiac, and then you have the smooth. And then second is be able to understand and let's end, no? Be able to understand and appreciate how different types of muscles contract. Okay. Okay, so of course, no, the first and I think the more important function, no, of the system is movement. No, so they say that the strength, no, our muscular strength is actually a reflection, no, of the very important functions, no, of our muscles, and that is movement. Okay, so muscles, no, are able to transform chemical energy in the form of ATP into mechanical energy. Okay, for our muscles to generate force. Okay, to do work and to contract. And take note, not all contractions, no, not all muscular contractions produce movement. So some muscles, especially the postural muscles, okay, they contract in order to maintain the position of body parts, okay? And that, again, that's related to the second function of the system or the muscles, which is to stabilize our body positions, no? So as I have said earlier, for example, no, the neck muscles, they contract, okay? They contract just to maintain our head upright. Okay, there is no movement, no? Because if the neck muscles would not contract, so we would always go like this, parang laging lasing, no? Para laging nakainom or kung ano man, no? Laging high. Okay? Anyway, another function of the system is the storage, no? And movement of substances within the body. Like for example, in our um, gut, okay, our stomach, our intestine, our small and large intestine, our gallbladder, no, they are able to somehow temporarily store products or substances. Okay, and that is because of the contraction of the sphincters, diba? You had your zoology naman, so you know a difference between a sphincter and a dilator, diba? So when the muscles of a sphincter contract, they are now able to somehow close an opening so that the content, no, would remain inside an organ. Like for example, we said that the food can remain within the stomach for about 3 to 4 hours. Now it's because the cardiac sphincter is really contracted. Okay. So another is, of course, the movement of substances within the body. Like for example, the heart pumps. Okay, the heart pumps blood to the body parts, and the arteries and the arterioles, they are able to distribute blood, no, to the body tissues or to the body parts. And we said that arterioles are capable of regulating, no, the amount of blood that can be delivered to a particular organ depending on the need. So if an organ needs more blood supply, so the smooth muscles, no, in the wall of an arteriole would eventually relax to supply more blood to the area. Okay, and if the area needs a little amount of blood. So the smooth muscles, no, in the walls of the arterioles, they now contract, diba? Thereby constricting a bit the arteriole so that it can lessen the blood flow to the organ. Okay. Another is again in our gut, no. So we said that the general movement, the general wave-like movement of the gut is termed peristalsis, and we have different types of peristalsis depending on the region of the gut. Okay, and the wave-like movement, no, of the gut is actually brought about by an alternation of the contraction and relaxation of the smooth muscles, okay, found in the walls of our gut. Okay, so those are some examples like movement of the urine out or voiding of urine out. No? Ano pa ba? You have secretions, no, of like for example bile, no, from the gallbladder, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, another very important function of muscles is thermogenesis. So again, thermo meaning temperature or heat, and then genesis is origin. No? Because we said that a byproduct of contraction is actually heat. That's why it's called a metabolic byproduct. And when our muscles contract, especially when our skeletal muscles contract, they are able to generate mga 85% of our body heat. That's why they are very important in maintaining our normal body temperature. So it's very normal, no, that during very very cold days, no, or if we have during very cold days, we tend to chill, okay, because it means the body temperature is lowering, and in order to return the temperature into normal, so we have chills. Okay, so our muscles, our skeletal muscles, no, they contract involuntarily, no, and as a result, no, we are generating heat. And they say nga, 'di ba? If you're feeling really really cold, you can move around. No, you can move your muscles so that you can generate heat. And it's also stated, diba, that during very, very hot days, okay, you should refrain from moving a lot. Because if you do, you're going to generate more heat, okay, which would make you feel hotter. Okay, mainit na yung panahon, mainit pa yung katawan, no? So, nakakairita na yun, no? Kasi sabi, wag masyadong malikot pag masyadong mainit ang panahon. Okay? So, yun, no? Okay, so again, you're familiar with the three types of muscles. We've discussed them, we've differentiated them, and as we go along the discussion, you would still learn and appreciate more, no, on the three types of muscles. So just short recap, you have, or a short review rather, you have a skeletal muscle. Okay, so they are skeletal muscle tissues or muscle cells are cylindrical. They are multinucleated. No? Um, Usually, the nuclei are found at the periphery, they are striated, they are voluntary. Okay? So, cardiac muscles, no, they are anastomosing, they are branching. Again, they are striated, they are involuntary. A cell could have one to two nuclei. And a special characteristic is the presence of the intercalated disc. And we are going to discuss this a little bit more in detail, no, as we proceed with the discussion. And then we have, of course, the smooth muscle. It's called smooth because there are no striations. Okay, a shape is spindle, mononucleated, and usually they form the walls of hollow organs and also other structures, no, within the body. And in terms of location, so skeletal muscles are attached to bones, cardiac muscles are, of course, forming the ventricles of the heart, and smooth muscles are found in the walls of hollow internal organs and other internal structures. Okay? So yeah, no, in terms of parts naman, again, the cell membrane, no, is called the sarcolemma, and then the cytoplasm is called the sarcoplasm. And we said, no, in our discussion last time that the endoplasmic reticulum is called the sarcoplasmic reticulum. So hopefully, no, you can remember, no, the parts of a muscle. Okay. Now, next we have properties of muscle tissue. So number one is electrical excitability. Okay. So muscle tissues are like our neurons. They are capable of responding to certain stimulation by producing action potentials or impulses. Okay? So if an action potential is produced by a neuron, it's called a nerve action potential. Okay? And if an impulse no, is produced by a muscle, it's called a muscle action potential. Okay? But anyway, they are impulses. So we say that impulses are a form of communication. Okay? So another is contractility. No? So contractility is the ability of muscle tissues to contract. Okay, so I said earlier to contract in order to generate force to do work. Okay, and we said that not all contractions produce movement. Okay, another is extensibility. So it's the ability of the muscle tissues to be stretched no, without being damaged. And this is very evident in the gut, diba? So again, when we are eating a lot, no, our stomach is really being distended. It's really being stretched, okay, without being damaged. And that's because, of course, of the different connective tissues. And of course, no, that's because of the extensibility property of our smooth muscles, okay? And later in the discussion, you have structural proteins responsible for extensibility and elasticity, which is the last property of muscular tissue. So elasticity means that a muscle tissue can return to its original length and shape after contraction and extensibility. Okay? So yan, so bubabalik siya sa dating niyang anyo, no? Okay. Now, in terms of connective tissue components, again, we have discussed this. So there are three connective tissue components. And the connective tissues are very important in compartmentalizing the muscle. It's also very important in supporting the muscle. It's also very important in limiting the extensibility in order to prevent damage. So these are some of the functions of connective tissues. No? So the outermost connective tissue surrounding or wrapping the entire muscle is called the epimysium. Okay, so epi above, myo meaning muscle. Okay, so yeah, no. So the epimysium actually compartmentalizes muscle. So if you're eating chicken, if you're going to dissect, for example, the thigh part of the chicken, you can really separate muscles. No, and each muscle is now wrapped no around by the epimysium. Okay. Now, if you're going to make a cross section of a muscle, you would see again that inside there are bundles of myofibers. So each bundle of myofibers is called a fascicle or a fasciculus. So plural fascicles or fasciculi. And each fascicle is wrapped by the perimysium. So ito naman yung pangalawang layer, no? So that's the perimysium. Okay, so the epimysium and the perimysium, they are made up of dense irregular connective tissue. That's why they are very, very strong, no? And really adapted for supporting and protecting the muscle tissues. Okay, now again, if you make a cross section of the fascicle, you would see that I forgot to mention, no? So a fascicle may contain mga 10 to hundreds, no? A muscle, no, can contain mga 10 to mga hundreds of fascicles. Okay? And then again, no, so a fascicle is made up of, again, no, a bundle of, this time, muscle fibers or myofibers. And you learned no, in our zoology that a muscle fiber is actually a muscle cell. Okay? And each myofiber is now surrounded or wrapped by the endomysium. So, ayun. No? So, ayan. And they say that the three types of connective tissues, no, the epimysium, the perimysium, and the endomysium, they can extend past the areas of the fibers, no? And they can form a tendon. So a tendon is actually a connection between a muscle and a bone, no? Now, if the connective tissues extend as flat, no, broadsheets, they are referred to as aponeurosis. No? So this is an example of an abdominal aponeurosis. Okay, so you can see no, that the connective tissues, they form a flat, no, a broad flat sheet of connective tissue. So we have here the cranial aponeurosis. No? So we have, meron tayong sa may femoral aponeurosis. No? Basta yung medyo malapad. No? So yan. So again, they are not only for protection, no, but they really support the muscle. Okay. So those are the terms now: epi, peri, endomysium, and then fascicle or fasciculus. Okay. So what about when we further dissect a muscle fiber? Okay. So we said that a fascicle is made up of bundles, o mga 10 to hundreds of um, sorry, that's the entire muscle pala, no? So again, no, when you when you dissect a fascicle, you can see that it's made up of, again, bundles of muscle cells, okay? So if you get one muscle cell, and again, further note its structure, again, you have here the sarcolemma, diba? The cell membrane. Then you have the contents, you have the sarcoplasm. Then you have organelles. So you have the nuclei, you have very large mitochondria. Then you have here the sarcoplasmic reticulum, and all other organelles are there. Okay? And again, no, if you open a myofiber or a muscle fiber, now they are homologous. Okay, you could see that it's still made up of um, layers, or sorry, ano ba to? They are made up of smaller structures known as myofibrils. So yan, so you have here the myofibrils. And the myofibrils are in turn, okay, made up of myofilaments. Okay, so you have here the thick filaments, and then you have the thin filaments. Okay, so I guess it's not very hard for you kasi we've discussed them already. Okay, so again, reviewing the structure of our myofilaments, you have here the thick filament, and then you have the thin filament. No? So ito. So you have here the thick filaments, tapos you have here the thin filaments. No? So if you get one thick and one thin, so ito siya. No? So we said that the thick filament is also called the myosin filament because it's made up of the protein myosin. And if you're going to get one myosin molecule, it's actually made up of a myosin tail and two myosin heads. We also call them, recall? What's another term for the myosin heads? Can you still recall? Hindi na, nakalimutan na. Can somebody answer? Kung
Cross
nakalimutan.
bridge.
Yes, no? Sino to? Si?
Dalawe po.
Si CJ. Okay. So yes, correct, no? So the myosin heads, very good. The myosin heads are also called the cross bridges because they form connections with the actin. Okay? So yeah, no? And then taking note of the myosin head or the cross bridge, so we said no that there are two binding sites. We have here the actin binding sites, and we have the ATP binding site, because ATP is very important in muscular contraction. No? Again, it powers, okay, power stroke, di ba? Kaya nga sabi, muscles are able to convert chemical energy in the form of ATP into mechanical energy or force or work. Okay? So, yun, na? Now, what about the thin filament? So there are three proteins. Again, so review natin, ano? There are three proteins making up the thin filament. So the yellow beads, they represent actin proteins. And since mostly, no, an actin filament is made up of a thin filament is made up of actin protein. So we call the thin filaments as actin filaments. Okay? And you know that when the regulatory complex slides away now from the actin, okay, so actin molecules have their myosin binding sites. So nire-recall lang natin, na-discuss na natin sila last time. Okay? Now, there are regulatory proteins. So we have, sabi natin, we have troponin. And there are 3 types of troponin molecules. So we have troponin T, the red one. So troponin T, because this is the one attached to the tropomyosin, the rope-like structure. And then the blue one, that's the troponin C. Okay, C, because it attaches to, it's the attachment site for calcium. And the light blue one, that's the troponin I, or inhibitory, because that's the troponin that really covers the myosin binding site on the actin. Okay? So another regulatory protein is the tropomyosin. So this is the rope-like structure. Okay? And we said last time that the tropomyosin complex is regulatory because when the muscles are relaxed, okay, they are the ones covering the myosin binding sites on the actin. Okay? And sabi natin, di ba? So, in preparation for muscular contraction, when you have a sufficient amount of calcium in the sarcoplasm of the muscle, the calcium ions, they now bind to troponin C. Okay, and since sabi natin dati, calcium ions are dense molecules, so binding actually causes the twisting, or the displacement, of the troponin-tropomyosin complex, revealing the myosin binding sites on the actin. So hopefully you can still remember. Okay? So yan, no? So you have their binding of calcium, and then displacement of the troponin-tropomyosin complex. Okay, and since the myosin binding sites on the actin are exposed, so the myosin heads or the cross bridges can now bind to them and perform power stroke in order to move the thin filament towards the center of the sarcomere. Okay? So yeah, no? Anyway, we are going to discuss this further later. Okay? So another look. So this is troponin, mahirap habulin, T, C, and I. No? Look at the I. Ayun. So the troponin I or inhibitory, so that's really the one covering the myosin binding sites on the actin. Okay? Okay, so ito lang, it now summarizes the structure lang from a muscle to a fascicle to a muscle cell to the myofibrils to the myofilaments. Okay? Okay, so, and we also said during our discussion last time pa, that the thick and the thin filaments, they are now arranged to form the functional, the structural and functional unit of the muscle, which is known as a sarcomere. That's why the prefix sarco is utilized for muscle. Okay, sarcoplasm, sarcolemma. Okay, so we said that a sarcomere is actually is bounded by 2 Z-disc or Z-lines. No? So you have one Z-line here, another Z-line here, you have one sarcomere. Okay? So again, let's try to review the parts of a sarcomere. So you have here the I band. Ito. The I band or the light band. Okay? So what, again, what does I stand for in our discussion? If you can still recall, the A and the I.
Isotropic po.
Okay, so very good talaga kayo, no? So the I stands for isotropic. Iso meaning the same. Okay, because the I band contains only the thin filaments or the actin filaments. Okay? So you have here one I band, another I band. Okay? And in between the I bands, you have an A band. So mula dito hanggang dito. And sabi natin pag A, it refers to
Anistropic.
Anisotropic.
okay, anisotropic. An meaning not, iso equal, so not equal, no? Because we say that an A band is made up of a combination of the thick filaments and portions of the thin filaments. Okay? And the alternation of the light and the dark bands actually forms the striations of skeletal and cardiac muscles. No? So you have alternation of light band, dark band, light band, dark band, and so on. So it means no, from here, no, at the middle, you have a Z line, and then you have an A band, and then you have another half no, of the I band, another Z line. So that's one sarcomere. Okay, that's why the sarcomere, no, you've learned that a sarcomere shortens, no? That's why they are called the contractile unit of muscles. Okay, now going back to the structure of our sarcomere, so within the A band, you have an H zone. So an H zone, so from here to here, now is actually made up of only thick filaments. And the sarcomere is bisected by an M line. Okay, so the M line is actually made up of a protein, no? So it's made up of myomycin. So later we'll discuss. Yes? Question? Wala naman, no? So you have here the M line. So the M line bisects the thick filaments and also attaches them to one another. No? So it's a form of support. And also it maintains the organization of the sarcomere. Okay? Okay, so apart from these proteins, so we have structural proteins. So we have, there are actually 5, but I only included here 3. No? So again, no, the M line is made up of a protein known as myomycin. So this protein, again, no, holds the ends of the thick filaments, and this also attaches to another structural protein, and that's titin. Okay, so the titin filament or the titin protein is attached to the C disc, and this also is attached to the M line. So this is very important in supporting, no, and maintaining the positions of the thick filaments. Okay, so remember, no, two properties of muscles earlier. We have elasticity and extensibility. So actually, those can be attributed to the titin protein of the sarcomere, no? So parang it's like a spring, no? It allows the sarcomere to extend and to contract, okay, without damaging the muscle, okay? Now, another protein, okay, making up the Z disc or the Z line is the alpha actinin. No? So the alpha actinin, again, is connected to the titin protein, and it's also connected to the actin filaments or to the tin filaments. So again, no, they are called structural because they are responsible for maintaining the normal, no, the normal and the organized structure of a sarcomere. Okay, so yeah, no, and these proteins no have, of course, important roles in the contraction and of course extensibility of muscle tissues. Okay, ano pa nakalimutan ko sa sarcomere? Okay na. Okay na yan. Okay, so again, no, you just have here a table summarizing the components of the sarcomere. So we've discussed them already. Okay? So it's an electron micrograph of a sarcomere. So you have here the Z lines, and then you have the I band, and then you have the A band, you have the H zone, tapos you have the M line. Okay? And then you have here a summary of all the proteins. No? Starting from the contractile proteins, you have the actin and the myosin. So the actin is further made up of actin, troponin, and tropomyosin. Ito pa pala. Yung palang contractile, ito yung regulatory. And then you have here the structural proteins. So just read on the nebulin and the dystrophin. Anyway, you have here the description and the functions naman. Na? Okay. Now, again, there are two tubular systems that are associated with a sarcomere. Again, what are those two? If you can still recall. Andiyan naman na siya.
T-tubule po, ma'am, tsaka yung sarcoplasmic reticulum.
Okay, na? So we have here the transverse tubule. A transverse tubule is actually a perpendicular or transverse extension of the sarcolemma, diba? So that it can actually run within the sarcoplasm. Okay? And then ano ba to? Mint green ba to? No? So, this is the sarcoplasmic reticulum. It's a typical ER of a typical cell. And the sarcoplasmic reticulum wraps around the myofibrils. Diba? Tapos you have here sections of the thick filaments and the thin filaments. Okay? And the sarcoplasmic reticulum has bulging ends. So we call them the terminal cisterns. Okay, and the association of two terminal cisterns coming from two adjacent sarcoplasmic reticula and one transverse tubule is called a triad. Okay, it's called a triad. And if you're going to notice the location of this triad, they are very, very close to what band? Is it the A band or the I band? Saan? Ito, kita sa illustration. So they are close to an I band or an A band. Guys, wala na. Saan?
I-band.
Sa I band. Ito. Diba? Because what's the purpose of the terminal cisterns and the sarcoplasmic reticulum in general? Anong purpose ng sarcoplasmic reticulum? If you can still recall?
Stores calcium po.
Okay, no? So the sarcoplasmic reticulum, it stores calcium ions during relaxation and releases them during contraction. Okay? And ito, the terminal cisterns are actually the reservoirs. Andyan yung mga calcium ions. So that when an action potential, when an impulse passes along the transverse tubule, sabi natin, it also depolarizes the membrane of the sarcoplasmic reticulum, now which leads to the opening of the calcium release channels, which will be discussed in detail later. Okay? Why is the triad associated more with the I band? Why? Bakit hindi sa A band? Bakit sa I band? Since calcium ions are released, calcium ions, they attach to what protein? They attach to
Troponin.
Troponin C
troponin
po.
C. No? And troponin C, sabi natin, is part of the actin filaments. Okay? So, yun. No? Kaya every location, every structure, so sabi nga, everything is perfectly designed to suit the function. Okay? So, yun. No? Ayun pala yung triad. Okay. So, ito. No? So, review na natin. We said that what is needed before a muscle can contract. So that's related to the property of skeletal muscles and other muscles pala. So what causes a muscle to contract?
Stimulant.
Okay, so it needs stimulation. And stimulation is of course brought about by the, what type of neuron? There are three types of
Sensory
neurons.
neuron.
Sensory?
Motor neuron.
Motor?
Receptor.
Association? O, tatlo na yun. Alin doon? When it causes an effect or it elicits a response, so it should be pag effect ng pinag-usapan or response na. We are talking of
Efferent.
efferent or sensory association motor.
Motor.
Motor, 'di ba? Motor neurons. Sabi natin motor neurons, they form association with skeletal muscles kasi they are the ones which are voluntary, 'di ba? Anyway, so we've discussed two types of synapses in our nervous system topic. So this is a type of a chemical synapse. What is a synapse again? What's a synapse again? This is a chemical synapse. Another example of a chemical synapse. What's a synapse? O, ano bang nangyari pag may synapse? It's a... nakalimutan na. Hindi pa ba kayo nagko-quiz? Hanggang oras tayo? 10:15. O, nakalimutan na. O, ni-review. So, a synapse is said to be a communication, di ba? It's a communication between, it may be between two neurons or one neuron and an effector. And an effector could be a muscle or a gland. That's why, ito, a neuromuscular junction, no? Neuromuscular junction. So, it's a junction between a neuron, a motor neuron, and a muscle. So, it's an example of a chemical synapse. Because the messengers are chemical neurotransmitters. In this case, you have acetylcholine. Okay? So, review natin, no? So, again, when a nerve action potential, no? When a nerve action potential reaches the terminal button, it causes now the opening of the calcium channels. Okay, so opening of the calcium channels causes the influx of calcium. Sabi natin, calcium ions, they bind to the synaptic vesicles, causing them to release the neurotransmitters. So the synaptic vesicles, they now fuse, okay, with the membrane, thereby releasing the neurotransmitter. And the neurotransmitter in a neuromuscular junction is our acetylcholine. You're familiar with this already. Nasaan ba ang label? Acetylcholine. Alam niyo pa spelling acetylcholine or ACH, no? O sige, di ko na, ayun. So, yun, acetylcholine. Okay? Or the ACH, ayan. Okay? And we said that the acetylcholine diffuses to the synaptic cleft. So, that's the space, no, between, in this case, no, the space between the terminal button of a motor neuron and the motor end plate. The motor end plate is the surface of the, it's actually the sarcolemma, no, of a muscle, of a skeletal muscle. Okay, and this motor end plate contains a lot of receptors. So sabi natin, these are examples of ligand-gated receptors. Diba? So when acetylcholine, no, binds to the ligand-gated receptor, so the receptor, the gates opened, and sodium ions now are transported inside. And sabi natin, the influx of sodium ions causes what happens to the charge of the membrane? What happens to the resting membrane potential? It becomes an, sabi natin, in a resting membrane potential, what's the relative charge of the inner portion of the membrane? Kaya duktong-duktong ang topic natin eh.
Negative po.
Negative. And the upper surface is relatively more
Positive.
positive. And sabi natin, when sodium ions enter, there is now depolarization, di ba? There is now a shift in the charges of the membrane. So the inner now becomes more positive and the outer becomes more negative. So there is now the generation of an action potential. Particularly in this case, we call that the muscle action potential. Dito yung nerve action potential and dito yung muscle action potential. Okay? I hope you can still recall. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. No. So after that, sabi natin, how would, hindi ko na-discard ang ano nito. Tanggalin natin. O sige, since andyan na naman siya, no? Sabi natin, di ba, when neurotransmitters are released no, from the synaptic vesicles, the ligand-gated channels open, there is sodium influx, and this now causes depolarization, and then you have a transfer of the action potential. So from a nerve action potential to a muscle action potential. Okay? Yung sabi natin, no, ACH or the neurotransmitter is parang, it acts like a secondary messenger to transfer. Kaya nga neurotransmitter, it transmits action potentials from the terminal button going to the motor end plate. Okay? And we said, how would the action potential reach the interior of the cell? It now travels the transverse tubule, diba? And since the membrane of the sarcoplasmic reticulum is adjacent to the transverse tubule, the membrane would also be depolarized. Okay, sunod-sunod na yon, no? And we said, hindi ko pala nabura yung ano dito, drawing. Okay, andito na rin siya, no? When the action potential, when the membrane of the sarcoplasmic reticulum is depolarized, you have opening of the calcium release channels. Ito. Okay, so when a muscle is relaxed, the calcium release channels are closed. So when the membrane is depolarized, they now open. And when the calcium release channels are open, of course, calcium ions now exit the sarcoplasmic reticulum. And where would the calcium ions bind to? Again,
Troponin C.
okay, no? So calcium ions would bind to the troponin C. Sabi natin, no? And the binding of the calcium ions cause now the unwinding of the troponin-tropomyosin complex, thereby exposing the myosin binding sites on the actin. Okay? So let's go to the contraction cycle. Okay, so when you say contraction cycle, it's actually a repeating sequence of events. Okay? It's a repeating sequence of events. Okay, causing the thin filaments, causing the thick filaments to pull the thin filaments towards the center of the sarcomere. Okay, so it says here, okay, what should be the condition of the myosin heads or the cross bridges before they can bind to their myosin binding sites on the actin? So it says here, the myosin heads should be energized. And sabi natin, energy is provided by ATP. Okay? So, even prior to binding, so sabi natin, di ba, a myosin head also has an ATP binding site. And that ATP binding site also acts as an ATPase, no? A site or an enzyme that cleaves ATP into ADP and inorganic phosphate. Okay? So once ATP is now broken down, the myosin heads are said to be charged or energized, and they are now ready to bind to the myosin binding sites on the actin molecules. Okay? So it means even prior to binding, the myosin heads already utilize one molecule of ATP. Okay? So again, when the myosin binding sites are already exposed, the myosin heads now or the cross bridges, they now bind to the myosin binding sites on the actin. Okay, and they now perform power stroke. So these myosin heads, no, they now bend, no, and bending now causes the pulling of the thin filaments towards the center of the sarcomere. Okay. And what is needed, no, for a myosin head or for the myosin heads to detach from the actin? What is needed? Kasi they've
Another
already
ATP.
another ATP na because they've already consumed their ATP. So another ATP is needed, okay, to bind to the myosin molecule. So again, the ATPase part splits ATP into ADP and inorganic phosphate, and the myosin heads now go back to their energized position, to their initial position. And since they are energized, they are now ready again to bind with other myosin binding sites on the actin. So this is one contraction cycle. And there are a lot of contraction cycles, no, before a muscle can contract, no? That's the importance of ATP. Sabi natin kanina, muscles are able to transform chemical energy that's in the form of ATP to mechanical energy. So that's force to do work. Okay? So again, ito 'yon, no? So you have here the cross bridges continuously binding to the myosin binding sites, and as they bind, they perform power stroke, and they now pull the thin filaments towards the center of the sarcomere. Okay, so this happens as long as there is stimulation, as long as there are calcium ions, and as long as there are ATP molecules. Diba? Ang cute nila, no? Kaya sinasabi, ano nga to? Ano yung mechanism na to? The pulling of the thin filament towards the center of the sarcomere. What's that mechanism? Andyan na. Ayan yung pangalan.
Sliding filament theory.
Okay, so that's the sliding filament theory or the sliding filament mechanism. Okay? So, kaya it's stated that muscles always pull, they never push. Okay? Muscles always pull, they never push. Because the myosin heads or the cross bridges, they are always pulling the thin filaments towards the center of the sarcomere. Okay? So ito rin, no? It shows you the pulling of the thin filaments towards the center of the sarcomere. So if that happens, okay, what happens to the sarcomere? So you have here relaxation and then partially contracted and then maximally contracted. So what happens to the size of the sarcomere?
It shortens.
Okay, so the sarcomere actually shortens. And if all the sarcomeres of the entire muscle shorten, so the entire muscle now shortens or contracts, and it's able to generate force to do work, no? And ito, sliding filament mechanism daw.
Action between the filaments is described as sliding. The myosin filament actually pulls the actin along its length. The cross bridges of the myosin filaments attach to the actin filaments and exert force on them to move. This action is known as the sliding filament mechanism of muscle contraction. In this model, the sarcomeres shorten without the thick or thin filaments changing in length. A contraction begins when a bound ATP is hydrolyzed to ADP and inorganic phosphate. This causes the myosin head to extend and can attach to a binding site on actin, forming a cross bridge. An action called the power stroke is triggered, allowing myosin to pull the actin filament toward the M line, thereby shortening the sarcomere. ADP and inorganic phosphate are released during the power stroke. The myosin remains attached to actin until a new molecule of ATP binds, freeing the myosin to either go through another cycle of binding and more contraction or remain unattached to allow the muscle to relax. Muscle contractions are controlled by the actions of calcium. The thin actin filaments are associated with regulatory proteins called troponin and tropomyosin. When a muscle is relaxed, tropomyosin blocks the cross-bridge binding sites on actin. When calcium ion levels are high enough and ATP is present, calcium ions bind to the troponin, which displaces tropomyosin, exposing the myosin binding sites on actin. This allows myosin to attach to a binding site on actin, forming a cross bridge. Calcium ions are stored in the sarcoplasmic reticulum and are released in response to signals from the nervous system to contract. Neurotransmitter molecules are released from a neuron and bind to receptors, which depolarizes the membrane of the muscle fiber. The electrical impulse travels down the T tubules and opens calcium stores. Calcium ions flow to the myofibrils, where they trigger a muscle contraction. As the actin and myosin slide along each other, the entire sarcomere shortens as the Z lines draw closer to the M line. As the sarcomeres in myofibrils contract, the entire muscle fiber will shorten. When muscle fibers contract in unison, a muscle can produce enough force to move the body, allowing you to take notes.
Ang galing ng muscles natin, ano? Okay, do I have audio?
Yes po.
Meron po, ma'am.
Okay, sige. Let's continue moving forward. Okay, so it says here, no, what happens to the length of the thick filaments and the thin filaments when a sarcomere contracts? Is there a change in the lengths of the thick and the thin filaments when a sarcomere contracts? Ito. So wala, no? So the original lengths of the thick filaments and the thin filaments na remain the same even when the sarcomere is contracted. So it means the contraction or the shortening is really brought about by the sliding of the thin filaments towards the center of the sarcomere. Okay? Okay, what about the relaxation part? So how would a muscle relax? So in the first place, what triggers contraction? What triggers contraction? What initiates contraction?
Stimulus po.
It's the stimulus. So it means a muscle can relax in the absence of a stimulus. Diba? So during relaxation, what happens is that the ACH, this is now recycled by an enzyme known as the acetylcholinesterase or the ACHE. So this enzyme now removes binds to the ACH now found in the synaptic cleft and recycles them back to the synaptic vesicles. So if there is no stimulation, if there is no muscle action potential, what happens now to the calcium release channels? What happens to the
Close
calcium release
po, ma'am.
channels? They close. So it means that no calcium ions can exit the sarcoplasmic reticulum. And what happens to the calcium ions found in the sarcoplasm? They are now transported back by means of active transport. They are sequestered into the sarcoplasmic reticulum, okay, by means of the calcium active transport pumps. Okay, that's why ATP is also very important, not only in the sliding filament, it's also very important in sequestering calcium ions from the sarcoplasm going into the sarcoplasmic reticulum, because you know that active transport requires ATP. Okay, and it says here that within a sarcoplasmic reticulum, there is a calcium binding protein known as calsequestrin. Okay, so this calsequestrin, this protein, binds to calcium ions, okay, sequestering calcium ions 10 times higher in the sarcoplasmic reticulum compared to the sarcoplasm. Okay, so that more calcium ions can be sequestered or can be transported back in to promote relaxation. Okay, and if calcium ions are sequestered back into the SR, no calcium ions are bound to troponin C, di ba? So it means that the troponin-tropomyosin complex can now slide back, covering the myosin binding sites on the actin, and the muscle now relaxes. Okay? So that's the we have here a summary of contraction and also relaxation, no? It seems very simple, but of course, the cell would need a lot of enzymes and energy, in order to accomplish one contraction cycle. And in order for a muscle to contract, it needs a lot of contraction cycles. It means it needs a lot of energy. Okay, that's why muscles are able to generate ATP in 3 ways. No? Kasi there is the muscles, of course, our muscles are not really always contracting all the time, no? There is a shift from a low-level activity to a high-level activity depending on the stimulation. Hindi naman lahat lagi tayo gumagalaw, di ba? Siyempre, may mga times na nagpapahinga tayo o relax lang tayo, no? So we have three ways, no, muscles now have three ways of generating ATP. Okay, so number one is generation of ATP from creatine phosphate. So creatine is a small amino acid-like um, molecule or compound, no, that is produced by the liver, kidneys, and pancreas, and they are now stored in muscles. Okay, so it says here during the relaxed state, of course, our muscles have more ATP. Because anyway, no, the muscles are relaxed naman. So the extra, no, ATP is now converted to creatine. To creatine phosphate. Okay, so the phosphates are now transferred from ATP to creatine, creating creatine phosphate. So parang it's the storage form of energy. So when the muscle is now contracting, so creatine phosphate is now rapidly converted to ATP, and ATP is utilized. Okay, but it says here that the energy, okay, that is generated can only power contractions for about 15 seconds. So saglit lang, diba? And what about those muscles that are contracting for 2 minutes, and even those which are contracting for longer periods of time? So it means the muscle should have other sources of energy. So the second source, no, is production of ATP from anaerobic glycolysis, and we have discussed this, ha? Natatandaan niyo pa yung cellular respiration? 'Di ba? You have glycolysis, PrEP, Krebs, etc. So ito 'yon, no? And sabi natin, how many ATPs are generated during glycolysis? Net ATPs generated during anaerobic glycolysis. Review lang. Remember, energy investment, energy payoff. Ayan na sa figure, ilan?
2, ma'am.
Dalawa lang. Ayun, no? So for every molecule of glucose, only 2 ATPs are generated. And if the muscle only gets ATP from anaerobic respiration, that energy, okay, is able to power lang na contractions for about 2 minutes. So maiksi lang din. But what if muscles no have to contract for several minutes to hours? Like for example, when we are walking, exercising, sprinting, ano pa ba, aerobics, yoga, marathon, etc., etc. No? So it means the muscles would have to contract for longer periods of time. So it means the muscles would have to have more energy. And that is provided by aerobic respiration. Okay? And again, review our discussion. So how many molecules of ATP can be generated by the aerobic pathway? Ilan? Kung dalawa sa glycolysis, ilan sa net na ha? We're talking of net. Ilan sa ETC? Kalimutan na, paulit-ulit na tayo dyan. O, ilan? Sabi natin, from a glucose, there is a net yield of how many ATPs?
36.
36. So, ilan ang sa Krebs cycle? Ilan sa ETC? Kung may 2 na sa glycolysis, o ilan na lang natira?
34.
34. So, ito may nakalagay siya 30 or 32. So, siguro depending on other properties pa or other mechanisms pa, no? Pero in our discussion, so we said there are 36 ATPs that are produced. So dalawa sa glycolysis, mga 34 sa Krebs cycle. So it means the amount of energy, and take note, no, there are a lot of very very large, no, mitochondria in the muscles. That's why they are capable of generating a lot of ATP molecules. So the energy is now utilized to power, no, the contraction for several minutes to hours. Okay? Di ba ang galing ng muscles, no? So pati yan, naisip niya pa. So anyway, okay? So yan. Now there are several terms that I would like to share So 20 minutes pa kaya pa, no? So first we have rigor mortis. We have explained this already. So rigor mortis means the rigidity of death, no? So we say that when a person dies, the cell membrane becomes leaky. So it means that more calcium ions can be released from the sarcoplasmic reticulum. And if more calcium ions are found in the sarcoplasm, it means that the myosin binding sites are exposed. And it means that the muscles are contracted. Okay? And usually it happens mga 2 to 3 hours after death, no? Talagang ang tigas ng muscles, no? Very rigid ang muscles. Okay? It's because, again, no, the muscles are contracted. And since a person no, is dead already, so he's not able to breathe, of course, and there is no production of ATP. And sabi natin, for a myosin head to detach from the myosin binding site, ATP is needed. And since no ATPs are present already, so the myosin binding sites remain attached to the myosin heads no, remain attached to their binding sites. So the muscles are contracted. Okay? Kaya sobrang tigas sobrang rigid na mga muscles. Minsan, kung ano yung pwesto ng kinamatayan, yun na yung pwesto niya. And it can last for 24 hours or depende, yung iba 2 days, 3 days, so depending on the person. And muscles no, would just soften when lysosomal enzymes already break the cross bridges. Okay? Or there is decay to the tissue. So yeah, that's rigor mortis. Another is oxygen debt. I think we've already mentioned this last time. No? So it says here, oxygen debt is defined as the amount of extra oxygen needed by muscle tissue to oxidize lactic acid following exercise. It's the added oxygen over and above the resting oxygen consumption that is taken into the body after exercise. Okay? Sabi natin, di ba? During exercise, during strenuous activities, of course, the skeletal muscles are continuously contracting. Diba? You have numerous contraction cycles. So it means that the muscles, they are now utilizing, the oxygen, that is found when the muscles are relaxed. So meron tayong resting oxygen consumption, no? So it means that the person has to and during that time there is oxygen debt, no? Parang yung nasa resting oxygen level nababawasan yon kasi ginagamit siya sa muscular contraction. So the person who exercises pants or breathes heavily and very fast in order to take in more oxygen, okay, in order to pay off the oxygen that was utilized during that strenuous exercise. So habang pagod na pagod pa, diretso ang hinga ng malalim. Okay, para mas maraming oxygen na makuha. Pag naka-rest na, so ibig sabihin nabalik na yung oxygen level to resting level, no? Yung resting oxygen level. Okay? So that's why it's called oxygen debt. May utang, no? May utang tayo na oxygen kasi nagamit si oxygen noong maraming muscular contraction activities. Okay? What about muscle fatigue? So it says here, a muscle is said to be fatigued when it is unable to contract forcefully after a prolonged activity. Yung sumasakit yung muscle, diba? Para bang ayoko nang magtrabaho. My muscles are so sore and so fatigued. And they say that it's also a protective mechanism, no? Because it prevents fatiguing prevents further damage or may prevent damage to the tissue. Kasi ibig sabihin, since pagod siya, hindi ka magko-contract ngayon. So you're allowing your muscles to relax, no? And there could be several causes of fatigue. So one could be level of calcium ions. So there could be so much level of, or there could be an inadequate amount of calcium ions so that sliding filament is limited. Also, you can have low levels of creatine phosphate. You have oxygen debt or low levels of oxygen. You have buildup of lactic acid during strenuous exercises, diba? sabi natin, when pathway is anaerobic, so pyruvate, instead of being transformed to become ATP by the Krebs cycle, it now turns to lactic acid. And it can also be because of neuronal failure, so there is no release of ACH. So there are several causes of fatigue, okay? Okay, now what about a 15 minutes kaya pa? Now what about a motor unit? So a motor unit is said to be an association of one motor neuron and all muscle fibers it stimulates. So you have motor unit 1, yung blue daw. So in this example, it stimulates 2 muscle fibers. Tapos you have motor unit 2, no? Stimulating 3 muscle fibers. So each is a motor unit, okay? And it says here on the average, okay, so we have 150 skeletal muscle fibers in one motor unit, and they contract in unison because when an impulse, no, when a nerve impulse or when a nerve action potential travels in one motor neuron going to the terminal, so definitely it will now cause the contraction of the muscle fibers it stimulates. Okay. So again, in general, a motor unit can stimulate 150 skeletal muscle fibers. But what about those muscles required for precise movements, like for example, muscles of the larynx or our vocal cords? So they say that a motor unit could only have 2 to 3 muscle fibers, no, per motor unit. The muscles controlling eye movements. So those muscles could have mga 10 to 20, no, 10 to 20 muscle fibers per motor unit. Kasi they are very important in precise movements. What about those muscles, no, that contract very powerfully? So those are very big muscles. So there could be as much as 2,000 to 3,000 muscle fibers, no, stimulated by a single motor unit. Okay, and the strength of muscular contraction, okay, in part actually depends on the size of the motor units, no? So syempre, those muscles for precise movements, they would have only a weak contraction compared to powerful ones. Okay? So yeah, no? What about a twitch? What is a twitch? So sometimes you experience parang slight movement of your eyelids or corner of your mouth or some parts of your muscle. So that's actually a twitch. Okay? So a twitch is defined as a brief contraction of all muscle fibers in a motor unit in response to a single action potential. So there is one nerve impulse causing the contraction. Kaya ano lang siya, parang gumaganon lang, no? Nagtutwitch lang. So you have here a latent period, you have here the contraction period, and then you have the relaxation period. So during the latent period, it's the time when the muscle action potential actually spreads along the sarcolemma, no? And the action potential is just enough to open the calcium release channels. Okay? So of course, no, during contraction, so you have the sliding filament, diba? And then you have your relaxation. So natatapos lang. So a muscle contracts, no, a motor unit, no, contracts, no, or sorry, the fibers of a motor unit, they contract in response to a single stimulation. So that's just a twitch. Okay? And twitch can be caused by stress, no, it can be caused by consuming mga stimulants, no, mga caffeine, mga ibang stimulants. It could be felt after a strenuous muscle activity. It could be because of vitamin deficiency, vitamin B, D, and calcium. So yeah, so those are some reasons, no, for having twitches. Okay, and ito, a myogram is actually a visual representation, no, of the contraction, no. So it says it shows you here one twitch. Again, no, it's a contraction in response to a single action potential. Ito naman, no, it shows here that twitches can be summed. Okay, so if there is a second stimulation, so the wave of contraction can be summed. Okay? In an unfused tetanus, it says here that there are shorter periods of relaxation, okay, in between contractions. Okay? And in a fused tetanus, kaya nga, 'di ba, tetan means rigid no? Kaya pag may tetanus, usually naglalakjo, na talagang stiff yung mga muscles dito. But it's not only tetanus that is described in that way. So tetanus is normal, no? So tetanus is just the sustained, no? It's just a sustained, steady contraction. So for example, when you're lifting a book, ganyan, no? So it says here that your biceps muscles, your biceps rather, no? Your biceps is in tetanus kasi there is a steady, sustained contraction. So normal yon, ha? Hindi lang, ay, na-tetanus siya kasi may lockjaw. So normal lang tetanus, no? Yung fused tetanus, okay? Now, the fiber typing can be based on, you have a class at 10:30. Guys, may class kayo 10:30?
Yes po.
Oh, sige. So, kailangan ko ng bilisan, no? Oh, sige, dadalian ko na. Now, so the fibers can be typed based on the maximal velocities of shortening, and second is on the major pathway of ATP production, okay? So, based on the speed of shortening, we have the fast muscles and the slow muscles, okay? Pag fast fibers, so they have a high ATPase activity. Remember the ATP binding site on the myosin heads? So it means the ATPase activity is high. That's why they can move very fast. No, they can contract very fast. And then we have the slow muscles. So they have low ATPase activity. So second criterion is based on the ATP production pathway. So there are oxidative fibers. No? Pag sinabi nating oxidative fibers, of course, they produce ATP by means of oxidative respiration, Krebs, and ETC, di ba? So they have high mitochondrial content. They also contain a lot of myoglobin. So myoglobin is the protein that binds oxygen in muscles. So myoglobin is only found in muscles, parang hemoglobin in blood. Okay? So there are a lot of myoglobin, there are a lot of blood capillaries. That's why the muscles are said to be red. Hence the red meat, no, in the thigh of the chicken, 'di ba? Pag kumain kayo ng chicken, i-compare nyo yung thigh at saka yung breast. So meron kayong red meat, may white meat, na? Another is the glycolytic fibers. Pag glycolytic naman, of course, they produce energy by means of anaerobic glycolysis. So they have less mitochondrial content, no? And they contain larger amount of glycogen. No, because glycogen, 'di ba? That's the storage form of glucose in muscles, and also glycolytic enzymes. So they have low myoglobin content, they have low blood capillaries, hence the muscle fibers, they appear white, hence the white meat. So we have the red meat and the white meat. Now, if you're going to combine the maximal velocities and the major pathway of ATP production, you can type the fibers into 3. So you have the slow oxidative fibers or the type 1. So they are slow acting, bibilisan lang natin. They can, split ATP very slowly. So they are slow acting and they produce ATP by means of oxidative respiration. So it means they can now produce slow and steady contractions. So they are fatigue resistant. So examples are the postural muscles, okay, our postural muscles, and the muscles used for endurance type activities. So another, you have the fast oxidative glycolytic fibers. You have a combination, okay, combination. And examples are much of our muscles with moderately high resistance to fatigue. Okay, like for example, the muscles of the lower extremities. Now they are usually they are type 2 fibers. And the third one, we have the fast glycolytic fibers. We have the muscles of the upper extremity naman, usually muscles of the arm. They are used for strong contractions but short term. So, ibig sabihin, they are fast fatiguing. Okay? Like, for example, our biceps and triceps, we can carry very, very heavy objects, no, but only for a short period of time. 'Di ba? Pag nangalay na tayo, wala ibababa na natin. In contrast to walking, we can walk for several minutes, even to several hours. Okay? So, yun, no? And when you examine a cross-section of a skeletal muscle, you actually have combinations of these fibers, no? So, you have type 1, then you have the intermediate one, type 2A, and then the third type, you have type 2B, no? You have the red one and the white one, okay? So, sa mga legs ng chicken, mas marami sa kanila yung mga red fibers. Sa breast ng chicken, mas marami sa kanila yung white fibers. That's why yung mga dietitians, they usually utilize, no, or recommend eating the white fibers, no, because of less energy and less protein. Okay? So ito lang, it only summarizes the differences between the three types of fibers. So most of them we have discussed already. Okay, we have cardiac. O, kaya pa. Okay, so we have the second type, which is the cardiac muscle. What I would like to emphasize is that, again, the presence of the intercalated disc is actually a distinct characteristic of cardiac muscles. And if you further note or look at an intercalated disc, so it has two types of junctions. You have the desmosome or the adherence junction. So this now actually connects, the intercalated disc actually is a very strong connection, between cardiac muscles. Okay, because again of the presence of the adhering junctions or the desmosomes. Because remember, the heart is the first functional organ that develops during embryonic development. As early as 6 weeks, tumitibok na yan, di ba? Araw-araw yan hanggang sa mamamatay na lang. So, ibig sabihin, kailangan siyang sobrang tibay. At ang tibay niya ay gawa sa mga desmosomes or mga adherence junctions, no? Now, aside from the desmosomes, meron silang gap junctions. Sabi natin, they are like tunnels, no? So that the cardiac muscles, can contract in unison. So that the ventricles can contract in unison. Hindi yung kaliwa muna, tapos kanan, o kaya kanan kaliwa. So sabay lagi ng sabay ang ventricles. Okay? And it says here that they have the same, like the skeletal muscles, they have sarcomeres. That's also the reason why they are striated, no? So yan, may mga alternation of light and dark bands din sila. And it says here, the cardiac muscles, they remain contracted 10 to 15 times longer than skeletal muscle tissues. Okay? Because of the availability of calcium and because of larger and more numerous mitochondria, compared to a skeletal muscle. And of course, the heart, can pump by itself because it has an inherent conduction system. So if you can still recall your SA node, AV node, the AV bundle, the right and left bundle branches, and the Purkinje fibers. Okay? So it's innervated also by, of course, by the sympathetic and the parasympathetic neurons, pero it can beat, it can contract by itself because of the inherent conduction system. Okay? So lastly, the smooth muscles. So kaya pa, konti na lang. So you have here the locations. Anyway, they are self-explanatory. In terms of structure, they are innervated mostly by the autonomic neurons. They also have the thick filaments and the thin filaments. They are not arranged in a sarcomere. Okay? The thin filaments are attached to dense bodies. So the dense bodies, they function like the C disc of sarcomeres. The dense bodies are also attached to the intermediate filaments. So when the thick and the thin filaments undergo the sliding filament mechanism, again, there is contraction, and the shortening now pulls on the dense bodies and again pulls on the intermediate filaments, thereby shortening the entire smooth muscle. Okay? And another difference is that they also have gap junction so that the muscles can also contract in unison. And it says here they have few sarcoplasmic reticulum, but they have cavulae. So cavulae, they are parang small pouch-like invaginations of the sarcolemma containing extracellular calcium. So there are two sources of calcium. Yung SR nila, since kukonti nga lang, so they are provided with a cavulae. They don't have T tubules, but they are provided with gap junction so that the stimulation, no, that so that all muscle fibers can be stimulated at one time. Okay? And another difference is in the contraction. Siguro mas maganda kung YouTube na lang para matapos tayo agad, no? So mga 2 minutes pa to.
You use muscles every day to do activities. This woman is using muscles to breathe, circulate blood, and move her hand to take notes. Your cardiac and smooth muscle tissues are involuntary. You do not consciously control their actions. Skeletal muscle works under
The contraction of smooth muscle is regulated by neural innervation of the autonomic nervous system and is also affected by hormones, paracrines, and other local chemical signals. Regardless of the stimulus, like skeletal and cardiac muscle tissue, smooth muscle cells do rely on cross-bridge cycling between actin and myosin to develop force. However, in smooth muscle, cross-bridge cycling cannot occur until myosin heads are activated as the end result of an activation cascade begun by a rise in cytosolic calcium levels. As an action potential travels along the sarcolemma of a smooth microfiber, L-type calcium channels open, and calcium diffuses into the cytoplasm of the cell from the extracellular fluid. Small amounts of calcium are also released from the sarcoplasmic reticulum. As cytosolic calcium levels rise, calcium binds to calmodulin, a calcium-dependent regulatory protein. The calcium calmodulin complex binds to and activates myosin light chain kinase, also known as MLCK. Once active, MLCK transfers a phosphate from ATP to the light chain of myosin, thus activating the myosin. With myosin active, cross bridges form as myosin binds tightly to actin, initiating the power stroke cycle. Once activated, power stroke cycling will proceed in a manner similar to skeletal muscle. For smooth muscles to relax, myosin heads must be inactivated. The phosphorylation of the light chains by MLCK is countered by a myosin light chain phosphatase, which dephosphorylates myosin and thereby inhibits contraction.
Yes,
So it means that one difference between the myosin heads of cardiac and skeletal muscles is the absence of the ATPase activity or the ATP binding site on the myosin head, diba? On the smooth muscles. That's why they are very dependent on the myosin light chain kinase. Okay? So this is very important in activating the myosin heads. And the myosin light chain phosphatase naman is important in the deactivation of the myosin head. Another difference is that calcium, no, instead of binding to troponin found in skeletal muscles and cardiac muscles, so calcium now binds to calmodulin, now within the sarcoplasm of the smooth muscles. Okay,
So anyway, andito naman siya, no? And finally, yung huli natin, there are types of muscle fibers, smooth muscle fibers, depending on activation. So para mas mabilis na lang din ulit. Para matapos natin. No? Mga ilang seconds lang to.
Of smooth muscle tissue, you have single unit and multi-unit smooth muscle. And the single versus multi prefix there is primarily referring to the number of nerve fibers required to activate the smooth muscle tissue. In single unit smooth muscle, also called unitary smooth muscle, it's only going to be innervated by maybe one or very few nerve fibers per bundle. And there's no need to have many nerve fibers because one nerve fiber can actually contract an entire sheet of smooth muscle in unison due to the presence of gap junctions, which allow the electrical signal to spread rapidly to all of the adjoining smooth muscle cells. And if you think of like a string of Christmas lights, for example, that would be an example of a single unit smooth muscle because you only have to have one plug, a single plug on the Christmas lights, but when you plug it in, the way those Christmas lights are constructed, the electrical signal rapidly passes to all those little individual lights and they come on. So that would be an example of single unit smooth muscle. And this type of smooth muscle is primarily found in the hollow organs, such as the intestines, which is why it's also sometimes called visceral smooth muscle. And of course, viscera refers to your organs or guts. Now, multi-unit smooth muscle, however, these smooth muscle cells are going to contain fewer gap junctions. So the electrical impulse is not going to be able to spread across all the cells as efficiently as the single unit smooth muscle. So each cell is going to require its own electrical impulse. Hence, there are going to be multiple nerve fibers found here to deliver that impulse. So whereas a string of Christmas lights is going to be analogous to a single unit smooth muscle, the multi-unit smooth muscle would be like 5 individual lamps that you have to plug in to get their own power. And this type of smooth muscle is going to be found more in the skin, the eyes, the blood vessels, and so on. Okay,
Okay, so those are, again, the types of smooth muscles. And finally, okay, we end by differentiating the skeletal, the cardiac, and the smooth muscles, no? Utilizing the features. Okay, so yun, no? So we end our discussion.